Welcome back to another Translator Insider. Today we are going to talk about something that happens frequently and sometimes may cause a little discomfort, especially when you are starting your career and you still unsure. You need clients, but you are still unsure of what really should you be doing in situations like this. I'm talking about when you receive a job that is slightly outside your skills, outside your scope, and you really don't know, should you decline the job and kindly say, well, this is really out of my scope, so it's out of my skill set, um, or should you challenge yourself and accept it and embrace it? So let's talk about this in all perspectives and see what can be done. So come on with me. Let's talk about translation. So let's talk about when it's out of scope. What do we do when we receive a project that is slightly off what we usually do? So this is something that is quite common, and I know that when we are starting our careers, that this poses a lot of questions because we ourselves have a lot of questions. We are just starting and we may be very insecure. I know I was, and one of the main reasons that I actually decided to create courses and become an instructor and pass on all my experience is exactly because I want the new generation of translators to have a much better experience when they start to the one I had. And obviously, part of that is all those questions, all those insecurities that we all do. I think in every profession this happens, that we have when we start our careers. If I can minimize those questions, if my experience can actually be useful for my new colleagues to understand the dynamics of the job and understand what they can and what they can't do, I think I will be a very happy person. I'll be a very happy professional because I would feel that somehow I helped them and I helped the whole industry to thrive. For me, it's very important that the new generation of translators reach their full potential as soon as they can. So the industry is healthy and they healthy, and we can all thrive. I for one don't believe that just because I'm already established and I've been in this industry for more than 10 years, that all my other colleagues don't matter, and especially the younger ones. I don't think that at all. I'm here for them. So let's talk about this. I digress. Let's talk about this. So one of the questions that when we start is obviously our specialization. This would be a matter for another video, and I would be talking about this in a future video. It's one of the questions that obviously comes to mind. I usually say to my students, choose something that you are comfortable with. Of course, there's several pathways to become a translator. If you, for example, already have a degree or a certain extent of experience in a certain industry, you can use that as your specialization, and that would be a massive bonus for you because you already have one of the major problems that we encountered when we start our careers. You already have it solved. But if you don't, if you are just starting, if you just came out of university, high school, whatever it might be, and you are just started, don't take it as a mammoth task. Don't take it as a a huge thing, like that huge monster that you cannot conquer. That's not true at all. I would start by choosing something that you are very comfortable with, that you are passionate about, and that will be your starting point. Remember, you can always change your specialization if you find that that one maybe it was not for you. You can always change it. Nothing is set in stone. We can always change. There's all possibilities out there. So bear this in mind. And another thing that I would like my colleagues to bear in mind is that when we start, we always hear about these fields that obviously are well known in translation, such as legal translators, clinical or medical translators, financial, IT, all these very well established, well known, and somehow fancy industries that everyone knows about. However, it does not mean that to choose a specialization, you have to choose one of these. That is maybe some misconception. I remember when I was actually doing my course at the British Council, my teacher, when we were actually addressing this point, when we were talking about choosing our specialization, she was saying that at the time, I am not 100% aware of what's going on at the moment, because obviously each market is different, and in the country that you are, it might be different from, for example, what happens in Australia or in any other country. So we find that each country would be different. So that's why it is always important to have a market study and know what your country, what your target is doing. But I remember back in the day, she was telling us, for example, that there was a lack of translators for cooking books. So if you really like cooking, if that's something that you like, it could be your specialization. It does not need to be legal translator. It does not need to be a medical translator. It does not need to be in IT or technical or whatever, one of these, or literary translator. This is a field of literary, obviously. But for example, you can choose cooking, or you can choose a niche, something that you are very passionate about, that you know a lot, that you have a sound knowledge of, and that you know the terminology and you are very, very confident with. You can research, and if there is a niche for you, pops your uncle, you've got your specialization done. It does not need to be anything. Sometimes the simplest things are the ones that work. I would say most of the times that's what it is. So this is off topic. I know this specialization thematics is a bit off topic to this video, but because everything is kind of linked, I decided to make this note on this video, and I will be making a video solely about specialization. You can also, obviously, I already told you, I've got my courses. You can also enroll in my courses and have a full spectrum of everything that we need when we want to be translators on an academic side in one course, and on the business side of things on the other one. So it's all out there. But let's say if you receive a proposal, an inquiry from a possible client, first point is read the document and know exactly what is in there. Have a quick look, analyze the document, and assess if that is within your scope, if that is within your skills. If you are confident, if that is perfectly fine. It could be right on point on your specialization, and that would be no problem for you, but it might be slightly off, and in that particular case, analysis is the key. You need to analyze the document and see what is in there. If it's totally out of it, if you don't feel confident with it at all, please don't try to play the hero and accept it and say it's a challenge, blah, 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 I'm going to embrace it, because it may go terribly wrong. Because if you are not very confident in that field and you make mistakes, it will tarnish your reputation, it will tarnish your business, because if you make mistakes, the client would most probably will come back to you saying, well, there was a few mistakes here, I want a refund, or I want a discount, or whatever. And obviously they won't talk fondly about you. They will say about their experience, and that it will obviously tarnish your business. Besides that, doing something that is out of your scope, it's totally against our code of ethics. So if you are not qualified, if you feel that you are not qualified for a job, it is okay to kindly tell the client, thank you very much for this opportunity, but I won't be able to help you on this occasion because this project is out of my scope. It's out of my skill set. And I think the customer, usually the clients, will understand this, and they'll say, well, this person was honest. They didn't go just for the money. They accepted that was out of their capabilities, and they let me know that it was, and they didn't accept the job. So that would actually be in your favor. But sometimes it might be, yes, slightly off what you set as your specialization. But if you look at the document and you are quite confident, you read it, you are quite confident you can translate it because all the words that you read it, you're not finding any particular issues with it, and you think you would do a quality job, because that's the point. The quality of your work cannot be tarnished, cannot be diminished in any way. You always must deliver a quality work. You always must deliver a quality translation. That is the most important part of your job. So if you are confident with it, you may go ahead and see how you go. Maybe that would become a new specialization for you. And when I say see how you go, it's see how you go in terms of starting to translate in that field, not in quality. Again, I stressed that is also a no-no, and because of what I said before about our code of ethics. If you go against or if you go outside your skill set and you accept a job that you are not adequately qualified to do, you will go against your code of ethics, and you can be penalized by that if the client, for example, in the case of Australia, lodges a complaint with OSIT. OSIT will investigate you, and obviously you will be penalized if you are found at fault. So quality, it's not never negotiable. You always have to deliver a quality work. What I mean here is that maybe you like that field, maybe it was a field that you have never considered before, but then you did that project and you actually enjoyed it. As I said, when I started translation, I set my specializations as biology because it's always been a strong field of mine. But then I received my first project, and it was from an airline that I worked with for 8 years. That was out of my scope. That was not out of my scope, but it was out of my specialization. I read it. It was a challenge, yes, but I thought I can embrace this job. I can do it. And it was my first paid job, and I worked for that airline for 8 years. Then when a few years ago I got contacted by another company, which is a client of mine at the moment, and that client is in the casino games industry, casinos online. And I translated a few documents for them, and then they proposed to sign a contract with me. Most of the jobs, most of the projects I do with this client is for the translation of, for example, certification reports of several casinos online, things like that. And all the language involves a lot of IT, and I am quite confident with IT. I work with my husband. You must know, because most of my videos these days, he is at the background. I work with my husband. He works in IT also for 20 years. So you know, I'm very confident because obviously living with him, I acquire a lot of vocabulary from him. I acquired a lot of knowledge. So I'm quite confident, and I've been translating for this company for a few years, and I truly love the job that I do with them, and I truly love this client. They are really amazing. The company is good. I work with a team of people that are absolutely amazing, and it's been a very, very good experience. So you just need to have an open mind and always put quality as your main point. analyze the document, see if you are confident with it, if you think you are able to do it without compromising in your quality, then if you are happy with it, accept it, and that's it. But if you think this is really difficult, like once I've received a contract that was truly complex, I have done a few courses, 2 courses to be precise, about contracts, but that enabled me to do a translation of simpler contracts, like for example tenancy contracts, small contracts, not more specific and complex contracts. I was not obviously able to do that, and I had to decline the job because it was obviously out of my scope, so out of my capabilities. So it was fine. So you need to analyze, but the basics of this is analyzing what the project entails, and if you can or if you cannot do it without compromising on quality. As I said once again, and I stress, you never compromise on your quality, because that will tarnish your reputation, will tarnish your business, and it may be the end of it. Because if you do something and you start having the reputation for being slack, for not doing things properly, for providing translations with lots of errors and things like that, obviously clients will not come to you. They will prefer to go somewhere else if they know about these things. So quality, it's never a compromise. It's very important to analyze, to see what you can and you cannot do, and then go from there, bearing in mind that you cannot jeopardize your quality. So for today, I hope you like this. I hope it really help you understand that sometimes it's not just black and white. And now I'm going to be a little funny here. There's all these shades of gray that you have to consider, and pun non intended, by the way. It's one of those things, you need to consider all aspects of everything, including when you receive a project. Sometimes it might totally out of scope and you will have to say no, but sometimes it's possible to do it and you still feel confident about doing it. The most important thing is that you never compromise on your quality, because that is what gets you there. That's what gives you clients. That's what gives you the good reputation in the market that will ultimately bring you more clients and help you grow your business. So you should always bear in mind that quality shall not be in any shape or form be compromised. Then you just go from there, because sometimes you might just receive a project that you like, and then you say, oh wow, this is actually a very good field. I like to work in this field. I like the dynamics of this field and all the jobs that I get, all the things, and you might just change your specialization. That's perfectly fine, and it can happen. It just can happen. People can change. People change careers, people change fields, people change. It's okay to change. What is not okay is when we do something that we are not prepared for, that we are not adequately trained for, and therefore we may make mistakes, and that is not okay, because we'll jeopardize our quality, of course, and obviously ultimately will ruin our business. So this is what I wanted you to take from this video. If you have any suggestions about any other subject that you would like to see discussed in our Insider, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be very happy to address those. And of course, if you have any questions about anything of what I just said here today, or anything else that you would like to ask, also feel free to ask. I'll be very happy to answer all your queries. As I said, I'm here for you. I'm here for the younger translators. I'm here for all the translators, because I think that if we share our experiences and if we share our knowledge, we grow together, because I strongly believe that my experience will teach a lot of things to my colleagues that now are starting now, but I have a lot to learn with them that I'm learning now, and they already learn with new techniques, with new things. So this interaction and sharing of ideas is beneficial for both, is great for both. So I love to learn with colleagues that are starting out now, because they have a lot to teach me, and I like to share my experience with them. So it's good for both of us. And I think that's how it is. I think that's a great way of doing it. As an entrepreneur, I think that's a good way of doing things, because I want the entrepreneurs of the future to be successful, to be empowered, and to run their business with confidence, run their business with the best of themselves. And I think if we have support from our peers, it's a good way of feeling that empowerment and feeling that confidence to face the tasks. And being an entrepreneur is not easy. We have to make very uh, difficult decisions, and basically every day. And it is important, if we have that support, if we have that network of our peers that we can refer to if we need to. So this is what I think entrepreneurship is about being innovative, is about being ambitious, is about being on top. Yes, it is, but it's also about sharing your knowledge, sharing everything you can, so you also make this world a better place. And I think it might sound a little bit utopic, especially in the current days where unfortunately things don't look that rosy or bright. But I think if we all give a little bit, I think we do can we really can make this world a better place. And I digress again. So, and again, if you have any suggestions, just give me, and put a like on the video and subscribe the channel so you get a notification of a new insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching, and see you next week. Have a lovely week. See you next time. Bye.